Now on the APEC VIP hotline, cutting-edge training for the serious athlete, apecgo.com. We have on the phone with us a member of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Championship Miller Lite team, a Tyler native. His name is Colin Fambrough. How you doing, Colin?
Good. How are you?
Doing very well. Thanks very much for coming on with us. First of all, I got to ask you, tell me about your background. Now, you graduated from Grace Community School in what year?
It was 2002.
Okay, and you live in Charlotte now, correct?
That's right.
Okay, so tell me how you go from being at Grace to being a member of a NASCAR championship team.
Well, circumstance and situation and meeting the right people at the right time. I was working at a bank in Tyler and dating this girl, and I, thought we were gonna possibly get married, and it just didn't work out. And so I decided that, man, I didn't really want to work at a bank, so I was gonna go try and do something that kind of always wanted to do. So I moved out here to Charlotte and started going to school and met the right people at the right time, and I was able to get the right opportunities and work my way up, kind of through the ranks. So what kind of school do you go to become a member of the pit crew? Well, there's a couple different options. There's a NASCAR Technical Institute, which I went to, and that's here in Mooresville, North Carolina. And then there's a specific pit crew school called 5 Off, 5 On, and they actually teach you all the different positions on a pit crew, and then you kind of figure out what you're best at, and then you go from there and pursue that position. Now, at what point did you become a NASCAR fan? Since I was a little kid, we would always fight for the TV on Sundays. Mom and Dad wanted to watch the Cowboys game, and I wanted to watch the NASCAR race.
How did that happen?
I'm really not sure. My mom tells a story. She worked for a company, worked for a custom van company, and she got to come to Charlotte one year to help sell and promote the vans. And one of their promotional deals was at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and she got to sit in Richard Petty's car, and they pushed her car up to pit road as they were getting ready to qualify. So she's got a picture, and I don't know if that's what sparked my interest or what, but I just found myself watching it every week and being real involved with it, and so.
Okay, it's amazing. All right, now, so tell me about, now you get from school to going to work for Penske, and suddenly you're on Brad Keselowski's team. How long have you been working with him?
Well, this is actually my first year with Penske Racing in the 2-car. Previously, I was with Hendrick Motorsports with Jeff Gordon one year,
wow.
And then I was actually with Jimmy Johnson 48 car last year.
Seriously?
When we kind of had our off year. So
yeah.
And then at the end of last year, it wasn't going to work out for me at Hendrick Motorsports, so I had to find something. Else, and Penske Racing picked me up during the off season, and it's worked out pretty good.
Yeah, I'd say it has. Now, so explain exactly what your duties are with the team.
My responsibilities are to change rear tires on the 2-car. So I actually don't work in the shop. Most of the race teams now don't want you to do both, because a pit crew guy has to put so much time and effort into the pit stops now, mm-hmm. with the working out and practicing, that we take a lot of time away from the shop work. So it's better for the race teams to have pit crew only guys and shop guys. So I just pit the car.
Okay, we're talking with Colin Fambrough, who worked with Brad Keselowski's NASCAR Championship pit crew, and on Bryan Houston Sports Radio Live on 99.3 Talk FM. So tell me what the physical demands are of doing the job that you've got to do. What are the dangers of it? Kind of go through that and explain it to people who don't understand.
Well, the physical requirements, obviously you have to be strong. I mean, those the tires weigh at the 1.5-mile tracks. When we run the inner liner tires, the tires weigh about 75 or 80 pounds. we have to work out. I work out about 4 or 5 times a week. We're only required to work out 3 times, but I feel it worth it to put in the extra effort because there's personal goals that I want to meet outside of just what I'm required to meet for racing. But
sure.
So yeah, there's definitely a stringent workout schedule and diet that we have to stick to. And as far as the dangers of the sport, I mean, there's opportunity to get hit on pit road.
Yeah.
There's been several close calls this year where you're having to come kind of around other cars that are already in their pit stall, or you're leaving the right side as the car in the stall behind you is trying to pull out, and you kind of have to make room for each other. Usually they don't make much room for you. You kind of have to figure out what to do. But, fortunately for me, I've never been hit in a race. I've jumped up on the hood in practice one time. A driver got his foot stuck between the brake pedal and the accelerator.
Oh my gosh.
Couldn't get it back up and kind of went flying through the pit stall. So aside from that, the only other thing I can claim is when the exhaust pipes come out the rear of the car on the right side, right next to the right rear tire.
Yeah.
And when you're changing that tire, sometimes on a 2-tire stop, the driver likes to rev the motor because as soon as the car drops, he's got the wheels spinning to get out of the pit box.
Right.
Well, when they do that sometimes, if there's any unspent fuel that has leaked into the exhaust pipes, it'll light on fire and shoot a ball of fire out the exhaust. And I lost my eyebrows one time, so that's been about it for me.
Man, okay. Colin Fambrough with the NASCAR Sprint Cup Championship Miller Lite team, driven by Brad Keselowski. So tell me what this year was like as you got closer and closer to the idea and the reality that you guys might be able to win the championship.
Well, it was a very interesting experience. The last 10 races feel like a season of its own. Every pit stop is more critical than the last, and it just kept building up and building up and building up. And we won Chicago, and we thought, man, that's a great start. And then I think it was when we won Dover, we kind of realized we've won 2 of the first 3 chase races. We've got a lot of good tracks coming up for us. We could really have a shot at this. And we knew we were going to have to dodge Talladega. We knew the Hendrick cars were going to be really good at Martinsville, so we needed to go in there and have a good finish. And we did. We were able to do everything that we set out to do. And then, all you can hope for going into Homestead is a chance. If you can go into that race with a chance, there's so many things that happen in racing. As you saw, the 48 team missed a lug nut on the last stop, and then they had a part failure that really ended their day. But, there's so many things like that are out of the driver's control, the crew's control, everything. So, it got pretty, I don't want to say I was nervous, but I was definitely anxious because you feel the weight of everything on you, and, you've spent this whole season working, and you're there, and you know that these opportunities and chances don't come around very often. You want to seize them if you can, and we were able to do that.
What was it like when Brad crossed the finish line and you guys knew that you had won the NASCAR championship?
And it was, the 48 car went up, when they went off the track. I think they went off about 40 laps, with about 40 laps to go. And with about 19 laps to go, I realized that no matter what happens from this point on, we were the champions, and we had won it already. And when he crossed in, at that point it was just trying to control your emotions because, we blow a tire or we have to pit for some reason. You still have to be ready in the frame of mind to go out there and do another pit stop. So I just spent the last about 19 laps trying to control my emotions, and then once we crossed that finish line, it was just total relief. All the built up, anxiety and hope, and you dream about that moment, and when it actually happens, then I was just trying to look around and soak everything in, and there's so many people that came by, offering congratulations, and And it was an incredible experience to realize that we had gone up against probably the best team in the modern era of NASCAR and beat them.
That had to feel sweet. Brad Keselowski gets all the FaceTime. You guys are kind of anonymous, I guess. So what's the opportunity for upward mobility in what you do? What do you want to see yourself doing here in 10 years with this?
Well, I'd like to definitely keep changing tires. I mean, driving a car, which would be really fun, is something that I'll never have the opportunity to do just because, drivers come up as a young kid and that's what they do.
Right.
So maybe a coaching role in the future after I'm done changing tires. I think I would be a good pit crew coach somewhere down the road, but I really don't have a desire to be a crew chief or go on the road. Those guys, they are 150% dedicated to their job, and they spend a lot of time on the road, probably 3-4 days each week, 38 weeks of the year, plus the time that they spend testing. So they spend a lot of time away from home, and that's not really something that I'm interested in. As a pit crew guy, we get to fly in the day of the race and then fly back home after the race. So it's very rare that I actually have to stay overnight.
Oh, that's great. Okay. So you married, have children?
I am married. No kids yet.
Okay.
Definitely something that's in the future. So, right now wife and I are just enjoying the freedom to kind of do what we want to do, and we get to go on vacation every year and travel a little bit. So we're just trying to take that time and enjoy each other before we buckle down and have kids.
Okay, and then how much time now between now and before you have to start getting ready for next season?
Well, it's funny because as soon as the pit boxes get back from from Homestead, they get prepared for Daytona. So, the guys at the shop are already tearing them down and getting them ready to be painted for the new paint schemes for next year, and we're having our end of the season review next week. And after that, my intentions and focuses are going to be on my pit gun, my equipment, and make sure I keep that in working order and go out and try to find something new and better than what I have. But we will practice probably once or twice in December, and we'll have off for Christmas, and then we'll come back in January, and we'll start our normal routine again and try to get ready for Daytona.
Do you practice like a football team, or you practice like 4 days a week getting ready for the race, or how does that work?
No, we generally just practice 2 days a week, sometimes 3. It just depends. At this level, you either got it or you don't. You're able to do it or you don't, and the reps are they're there to just basically keep you sharp throughout the season, because you do so many pit stops during a race weekend, that we definitely prepare individually for each track. There's a lot of tracks that have surfaces that don't wear tires, so we practice a lot of different plays that we generally wouldn't. But each practice is about 45 minutes. We run through a lot of different scenarios of what can and what might happen, and coming around a car or a car being in your stall and having to back the car up and stop short. So there's a lot of different things we can work on, but mostly during the season, we just kind of try to maintain and not wear yourself out, because there's a lot of races throughout the year.
Sure. Now, when do you ever get to come back to Tyler?
Yeah, I do. I was actually in Tyler the week of the Texas race. I flew out with the early team and went out and spent some time with my family and my wife's family, and we kind of had a little mini Thanksgiving because we were planning that we were going to win the championship and have to go to Vegas this week. So we're actually leaving in the morning for Vegas, and we'll be there all weekend. So we'll get to go celebrate the championship out there, which will be fun. But yeah, I get to make it home probably once or twice a year, definitely for Christmas, and then probably I try to come home early for one of the Texas races because I'm only about an hour and a half, 2 hours from the racetrack, so it works out to where I can get home and spend some time with family.
Terrific. Well, Colin, we really appreciate you coming on with us. Congratulations on being part of the championship pit crew for Brad Keselowski and being part of the Sprint Cup Championship Miller Lite team. Tyler's proud of you, and we look forward to seeing you with much more success down the line.
All right, great. Thank you.
Thanks for talking with us. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right. Colin Fambrough, again, a member of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Championship Miller Lite team on Bryan Houston Sports Radio Live on 99.3 Talk FM.